Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Now we have come up with videos regarding the solution of GATE 2016. In GATE 2016, we will first solve physical metallurgy questions. We'll solve first 1 mark question, then 2 marks question. So let us see. The first question of physical metallurgy is the lattice parameter of face-centered cubic iron, that is gamma iron, is 0.3571 nanometer. The radius in mm of the octahedral void in gamma iron is. So here the crystal structure is FCC, right? It is of gamma iron. Now it is FCC and the lattice parameter is given as 0.3571 nanometer, right? That is edge length. So it is asking about the radius of the octahedral void in FCC. So if you see, this is FCC. Okay, these are surface atoms at the 4 surfaces. Okay, now and other 2 atoms will be on first surface and this will be on the back surface. Okay, right? Now if you see here the location of the octahedral void, then location of the octahedral void at be the body center and it will also be at the A center, right? Because at the body center, if you see, these are surrounded by 1, 2, 3 and this face center atom here 4, right? And 1 from the top and 1 from the bottom, right? So it will be like this. So if you the body center, you take the 4 side face atoms and 1 top face atom and 1 bottom face atom. So the center position, the body center position will be the position of the octahedral void, right? Similarly, if you see at the H center also, the 2 atoms of the corner and 2 atoms from this face one and other 2 atoms will be from the neighboring crystal, okay, neighboring unit cell. So here, since this is the location of octahedral void, okay, so right. So if you see, the octahedral void will be such that there will be this iron atom will be there, okay. The next iron atom will be there, right? And this is the size of what? Octahedral void. And this complete length is nothing but this is your edge length, right, over here. So we can write here, let the radius of iron atom, radius Fe is this one, and radius of octahedral void, right? That is good. So R Fe plus R void is equal to A by 2, right? So this implies R Fe plus R void is equal to A by 2. We know that R is equal to root 2 A by 4 in the case of FCC. So A is equal to 4R by root 2, right? This implies 2 root 2. So 2 root 2 R by 2. And this R is RFE, right? So 1 minus, or you can write RV is equal to root 2 minus 1 RFE, right? So RV upon RFE is equal to 0.414. So the radius ratio is 0.414. So we need to find the size of void. So RV is equal to 0.414 into R of Fe, 0.414, and R of Fe we know √2a by 4. Okay, so 0.414 √2 by 4 into a. Since here edge length is given, so a will be how much? So a will be here 0.3571. Right? So if you do the calculation over here, then you will find your answer, and this answer will be 0.052 nanometer. So this will be the radius of your octahedral void. Right, guys? So this is the method to solve this question. Now let us move to next question. For an ideal hexagonal closed packed structure, the C/by ratio and packing efficiency respectively are. For a hexagonal, if you see this is your hexagonal, see this is your hexagonal, then this length is C, right, and this length is A. The C/by ratio, the ideal C/by ratio for hexagonal is 1.633. So you need to remember this one, and there is a derivation of this also. And we know that packing efficiency of SCP is 74%, and that is also equal to your FCC. The packing efficiency of FCC and SCP both are same, that is 74%, right? So which one is the correct option? So option B is the correct option. So answer will be option B. Now next question. A schematic of X-ray diffraction pattern of a single phase cubic polycrystal is given below. The Miller indices of peak A is. Okay. Now here the diffraction pattern is given for X-ray, and this material is a polycrystal material. So if you see the indexes, so here we'll see the index. Using index we can find whether this diffraction pattern is of simple cubic or BCC or FCC. So how do you calculate indexes? Indexes we calculate using h square plus k square plus l square. N is equal, and n represents indices, right? So we will calculate n over here. For the first peak it is 1 plus 1, that is 2. For the second peak 2 square plus 0 square plus 0 square, that is 4. Third one it will be 6, and so the next one we don't know. So what will be the next one? It should be 8, because this pattern is followed in BCC, and in the case of BCC the indexes are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, ... right? So the next your option will be such that the index should come 8. So if you see here, if you do here h square plus k square plus l square, then this will be 6, 4 plus 1 5, here it will be 4 plus 4 8, here it will be 2 4, 4 plus 4 plus 4, that will 12, 9 plus 1, here it will be 10. So the next option should be option B, right? The correct answer is option B. Okay. Now let us move to next question. Which of the following cooling curves shown in schematic is an eutectoid steel will produce 50% bainitic structure? So guys, you can see here, this is the TTT diagram, and in this TTT diagram we will have to see at which cooling rate we are going to get, or cooling path we are going to get 50% bainite. we know this is the nose, and below nose we are going to get bainite, right? So to transform alpha into bainite, what we need to do, we need to cool such that it should not touch the nose, it should be away from the nose. So this can be, and this is the favored path, and at this temperature there should be holding such that 50% transformation to bainite should take place. So at this position 50% bainite is going to form, right? 50% bainite is going to form, because this complete line shows the complete transformation. Here 1% bainite, and this is will be 99% bainite, but we are holding in the middle, so it will be 50% bainite, and after that we are just cooling it, right? So it will produce 50% bainite structure. If we cool down much below, then martensite will be formed. So 50% martensite and 50% bainite will be formed. So here, since we are only been asked about the 50% bainite, so the cooling rate or the cooling path which is given in Q will be your answer. Okay. Now, why can't be P? Because here the transformation is taking such that the alpha, the alpha will get transformed to perlite first, and after that this is going to reach over this location. But since it has already got converted to perlite, so there will be only perlite formation over there, this path only. If you see S is such that it is directly touching the martensite, so it will be the martensite structure over here. And S, if you see, this is cooling such that it is touching the nose, and it is touching such that there will be 50% transformation to the perlite, and after that it is getting transformed into martensite. So this is also not the favored answer. Okay, so option Q will only be the favored answer. So option B will be the answer. Now let us move to 2 marks question. During isothermal phase transformation in solid state, fraction transformed is measured at 2 different transformation times. So in the left hand side it is given the transformation time, and in the right hand side it is given your fraction transformed. So assuming our Rabi kinetics f equal to 1 minus exponent minus k to the power n, the fraction transformed in 300 seconds is. Okay. So here equation it is already provided over here, and we need to use this equation. We need to directly use this equation, right? So guys, f equal to 1 minus e to the power minus k to the power n, right? Here 2 data we are available here. The 2 data are available here. That is f fraction transform. In the first case 0.11 is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus k 75 to the power n. So this implies 0.89 is equal to e to the power minus k 75 to the power n, right? In the second case it will be 0.37 is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus k 150 to the power n. This implies 0.63, right, is equal to the power minus k 152. So what we will do, next we will do take log in each equation. So we will take natural log ln 0.89 is equal to minus k 75 to the power n. In the second case it will be minus ln 0.63 is equal to minus k 150 to the power n. We will divide these two, right? We will divide these two. When we divide these two, ln 0.89 by ln 0.63 is equal to k will be cancelled, right? So you can see here minus k will be cancelled. So from here you can calculate n, and the value of n will be, I have calculated this one, 1.987, right? Now when n you have calculated, so put the value of n in any equation. It can be in 1 or it can be in 2. Suppose I put in 1, right? So I am doing calculation over here. This implies 0.89 to the power minus k 75 to the power 1.987. So from this you can calculate k value also. So if you calculate k, then it will be 2.19 into 10 power minus 5. Okay. Now you know k, you know n. So for the case of 300 second, you can directly use the equation. Okay. So f equal to 1 minus e to the power minus k to the power n, right? So 1 minus e to the power minus k. K is how much? K is how much? 2.19 into 10 power minus 5, 300 to power 1.987. So if you do the calculation, then f equal to 0.84, right? And this is your answer. Okay, so this is the method to solve this question. Next question. The critical nucleus size in nanometer when copper melt is undercooled by 100 Kelvin is given. Data is melting point of copper is 1356 Kelvin. Density is 8900 kg per meter cube. Solid liquid interfacial energy is 0.5 joule per meter square. Latent heat of freezing is 13,000 joule per mole. And the molar volume, it is given 7 into 10 power minus 6 per meter cube per mole. Okay, so basically the molar volume, it is given 7 into 10 power 1. It should be meter cube per mole basically. So here, okay, now, okay, so for this question, so this is a problem of size of the nucleus, the critical nucleus. So we know formula, critical size equal to minus 2 gamma s by delta GV. Right? Delta GV means free energy change per unit volume. Right? We know delta G equal to delta H minus T delta S. Right? At the time of melting, so delta H, it becomes delta H melting by T melting, right? So delta H Tm minus T by Tm will be your delta G basically. So if we calculate delta G, delta H over here it is given 13,000, Tm is 1356, okay, and since it's undercooled by 100, so you can directly write undercooled by 100. Okay. Melting point, it will be 1356, right? Okay, so if we calculate this one, let me see the calculation. Okay, so your delta G value will be 958.70, 958.70, right? So delta G V means per unit volume will be how much? 958.70 divided by your molar volume. So molar volume is how much? 7 into 10 power minus 6, right? So now put this one over here, minus 2 gamma s. So gamma s, the interfacial energy, it is given 0.5. Delta GV 958.70 by 7 into 10 power minus 6. So the answer will be here 7.3 into 10 power minus 9. So this will be 7.3 nanometer. So the correct answer will be option D over here. Right. Since in the data only it was minus, per meter cube, so m to the power minus 3 here. So there was some mistake in the data. So that's why in this question marks was given to everyone. Okay guys. Next question. The density and corresponding crystallinity of two polypropylene materials are given below. So density and this is the crystallinity. The density of totally amorphous polypropylene in kg per meter cube is. Okay guys, so this is the problem of crystallinity. I have already posted one video over the crystallinity also, and there also I have solved this question, but let us solve again over here. So for the percentage crystallinity, you need to remember the simple formula, that is percentage crystallinity is equal to rho, means density of sample, minus density of amorphous by density of sample, complete divided by density of totally crystalline material to the density of amorphous material divided by density of crystalline material into 100. Right. So we'll put this one, put the values over, and we'll try to find. So for the first case, density of sample is how much? 904. Right. Density of amorphous we don't know, 904, divided by density of crystalline we don't know, density of amorphous we don't know, okay, into 100 is equal to 62.8. So in the second case, we'll divide simply 895 minus rho A by 895 rho C minus rho A by rho C into 100 is equal to 54.4. And when you divide, then the equation will transform into such that 904 minus rho A by 904 into 895 minus rho A to 895, right, is equal to 62.8 by 54.4. So from here, if you calculate rho A, then your answer will be, rho A I have calculated, it will be around 837.34 according to my calculation. So this will be near to option B, right? So option B will be your correct answer. Now let us move to next question. A simplified energy band diagram of an intrinsic semiconductor at thermal equilibrium 300 Kelvin is shown. In the accompanying table, which one of the four columns correctly represents the listed parameter? Assume same effective mass for electrons and holes. Okay. Here it is given that the semiconductor is intrinsic. Intrinsic means number of electron is equal to number of proton here. So there is balance between the electron and the proton. So for this type of semiconductor, if you see the different labels, then since it is the vacuum level, it is the highest level, and just below the vacuum level it is conduction band, right? So this will be your conduction band, and this will be what? Valence band, right? And in the case of intrinsic semiconductor, the Fermi level is just in the middle, right? So just in the middle, so it is in the middle. right? And this complete system is at 300 K, right? That means this complete system is at 300 K, means very low temperature, very low temperature basically, because the room temperature is how much? 273 plus 25 means 273 plus 25 means 298 Kelvin. So this is at basically room temperature. This system is at room temperature. Now it is asking about the band gap. So band gap basically describe the energy difference between the valence band and the conduction band, means the amount of energy needed to make one electron jump from the valence band to conduction band. So if you see the valence band over here and the conduction band, the starting of the conduction band is this one. So delta E1 is the band gap, it will be, right? So delta E1 will be the band gap. So band gap is equal to delta E1, right? Now electron affinity. If you see the definition of electron affinity, it tells basically the amount of energy needed to add one electron on the surface of the material. Like whenever we try to put one extra electron in the material, then what will be the amount of energy? So whenever we are taking one atom from outside, that atom is supposed to be at vacuum level, means there is no interaction at all, and this electron is at vacuum level. So when we try to put this electron in the material, so it will reach up to what? Your conduction band only. So the minimum energy it will be required so that it will reach the conduction band. When we add this one, so it will reach the conduction band. So this energy is your electron affinity. So this is how much? Delta E2 minus delta E1, right? Now the next is work function. So work function, if you see, the work function basically tells the amount of energy needed to eject one electron from the material completely, right? So if eject one electron from the material, so electron is suppose electron is directly bonded with the nucleus and it has some energy, right? It has some energy. So the energy levels are different. So energy levels are different. So since energy levels are different for different electron, the energy at Fermi level is the energy of the electron at the highest energy which the electron has at that temperature. Basically, whatever the temperature it may be, what is the highest amount of energy level which one electron has is defined by the Fermi level, right? So this will be the highest amount of energy level at this temperature, that is 300 Kelvin. That is basically called as the Fermi level. Okay, so when this is the highest amount of energy, so basically the more energy which will be required so that the electron can move out will be the energy supplied such that it will reach the vacuum level. So this will be the energy difference between the vacuum level and the Fermi level. So if you see here, the vacuum level, it is delta E2, right? So minus, and since Fermi level is between the valence and the conduction band, so delta E1 by 2, right? So this will be your answer. Okay guys, so now next question. A binary phase diagram is shown in the schematic. Okay, Upon complete solidification of a binary alloy system AB, the fraction of pro-eutectic alpha phase present is 0.50. Right? The alloy composition in terms of weight percent B is, okay, such that the fraction of pro-eutectic alpha phase present is 0.50. The alloy composition in terms of weight percent P is, okay. So it is saying that there is some amount of proeutectic ferrite, proeutected alpha ferrite. So since it is alpha phase is forming, so alpha phase is basically formed in the zone left to this one, right? So the alloy should be somewhere here, somewhat here. So let it be X composition here, suppose, and here it is 61.9, right? Now it is asking that upon complete solidification of binary alloy system, the fraction of pro-eutectic alpha complete solidification. Okay, so it is asking about the just moment when the solidification is taking place. Okay, so solidification starts at this point in the eutectic case. So whenever this passes this tie line, so there will be solidification. So basically the tie line which we need to take over here is this one. Let it be E, A, B and C, right? So here it will be alpha plus beta, right? So alpha will be the major phase over here in the left hand side over here, the alpha complete, alpha. Okay, so the alpha phase present is 0.5 over here, the phase fraction. So percentage alpha according to this tie line is BC by AC into 100, right? So this implies BC equal to 61.9 minus X divided by 61.9 minus 18.3 into 100 is equal to how much? It is 50%. So if you do the calculation over here, then X will be, let me see, X equal to 40.1. So for the alloy composition 40.1, the fraction we are getting of alpha, it is 50%, right? 50%. So the alloy should have the weight percent B composition should be at 40.1 weight percent.